What's up, guys? It's Cyden, a medical student from Cebu Doctors University College of Medicine. Welcome to the series Premed Crash Course, where I will be interviewing friends of different pre-med courses and how they related it to their med student life. Hi everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to another video of our Pre-Med Crash Course series. So for today, we have our special guest, Mr. Efren Ezekiel Albios. So Efren, introduce yourself, your pre-med course, and your school.
Thank you so much, Sai. So, hi guys, good afternoon. So, my name is Efren Ezekiel Albios. You can call me Ren for short. I'm a registered pharmacist and I earned my pharmacy degree in Cebu Doctors University. And along with Cyden, I'm also an incoming third-year medical student in the Cebu Doctors University College of Medicine.
Okay, so thank you, Efren, for allowing me to have an interview with you for today. I'm sure a lot of people who are aspiring doctors, who are pharmacists, would like to know more about pharmacist as pre-med course, right? So may I ask, why did you choose your pre-med course, or what were the reasons behind it?
Prior to studying pharmacy, I studied chemical engineering back in Manila for 2 years. Then at that point in my life, I didn't really see myself that I'm going to be happy with that certain profession. No? But to tell you a story, back when I was young, I really wanted to become a doctor. Yeah. So I said to myself, what if I redirect or what if I change life paths? So then I said to myself, any paramedical course will do because then I really wanted to become a doctor, as I said back then. Upon like checking each like pre-med course, as they say, when I saw pharma, both disciplines, I mean both like engineering and pharma, they have common ground. They have a common ground, basically, which is chemistry. So I said to myself, I had a passion for chemistry back then, so like why not pharma, right? Then at the same time, of course, we need to be realistic. So what if along the way I don't really want to pursue medna?
Yes.
Then of course, like pharma kasi like there are a lot of job opportunities abroad. Eh. Like number one, you can be in the clinical or hospital settings. Like ang lalaki ng ang lalaki ng sahod. Yung second point, like you can pursue research and development or drug development wherein like that can be one of my inclination then because I really love like medicinal chem. So I can maybe like then third point also like for example like in the States, if you're familiar with toxicology, yung mga detective stuff, like
yes.
for pera sahod factor, no? So I mean it's not clinical about the sahod, but your practicability for practicability, for practicability's sake. But of course, I can't really deny the fact that my heart is always for the people. So medicine,
Medicine. Okay, so I guess it also answers my question, or if you would like to add more, like I have this another question of when you were taking up pharmacy, did you think of it as like your course wherein you could pursue a career with, or because for the sake of pre-med, like how many % of that do you think in your life?
Back when I was in like when I studied pharma na, from that point I really didn't have like second thoughts of di na ako magme-med. Like sabi ko talaga when I entered pharma, like no matter what, medicine will always be the end goal. But to tell you along the way, no, like when you ask me like is that one thing that I wanted to pursue that as a career. When I was in second year, then I was offered that like to teach like after graduation. So then at the same time also like parang there were like offers parang like when I get to look at the internet, for example, like if you get to study this, study that, then exchange student programs. But those things really did not incite me. Gaya like strong heart lang talaga no matter what, met pa rin.
Okay. That's so, good to know.
So from those from what I said, like there were a lot, di naman sila considered as temptations, but there were really considerations, but it did not grab me like dun sa as to what I really wanted talaga at the end. So no matter what, med. So to those future med students, no matter what, if you really want it, no matter how difficult it is, med pa.
Okay. Very inspiring. So for those who are taking up pharmacy, so take it from Efren or Ren. as you would like to be preferred to be called, na no matter what, med. Okay. I'm gonna ask you now that we have finished first year and of course second year, so what are the pros and cons that you can think about?
So two considerations, like from my end, like number one, I'm an average medical student, and number two, I did not take a year off prior going to medicine. Like basically, it was really stressful on my end because I wasn't aware that like most of the subjects or most of the courses like in first year med were mainly like dominated by from both by those courses from the medical laboratory sciences as well as from the rehabilitative sciences. So I was not really aware of that. So that really made me what's this? That really made an extra effort or an extra climb just to keep up with the stress in medical school. So as
True.
for the pros, ano lang, kasi one part of which is biochemistry, and it was also a board exam subject for us. So
Yeah.
I really didn't have the difficult time na to study or to understand or to synthesize everything. So biochem is one tip. Like if you don't
A
want, I mean,
pro.
not really, yeah, not totally, but it can be an advantage if you're from pharma. Then another thing is fish. Oh. It's because like one aspect of which is like for example, you're going to discuss like bodily processes, but
Mhm.
this can be further understood when you go to second year. Like for
Mhm.
example, like you have this certain disease state, so you cannot really understand the disease state if you don't know the normal physiology. So that is also one aspect back in undergrad that was really taught by us is to now we really need to understand the normal physiology in order for us to know. I mean, like, it's actually a preparatory to understand the pathophysiology and where the drugs will be applied. So that those are some pros like from pharma.
Pros.
Like going back sa cons, marami eh. Then I'll just allow na.
Okay. Okay, I'd
I'll
like to
just
hear
like,
that.
is it okay? Is it okay na lang na like kung sa cons, like what can this? Kasi if I have my way back then, this is one thing that I encourage those students
Okay.
now
Sige,
what they're
yes.
going to do. So I have to admit talaga na one con or one of the most struggling parts for me was histo.
Okay,
And then I guess
same.
you really know about that. I remember one part we met sa coffee shop or we bump into each other sa coffee shop then nag-rant tayo about histo, right?
Yes.
So, so as for histo, basically for me, in relation na lang dun sa NMAT, there's this part kasi na you have to find that smallest detail. Like, was like, di ba? And maybe that was also one, and I admit that was the smallest part, but smallest, like, parang grade dun sa NMAT. So, I really anticipated that, maybe, I really need to study histo because maybe
uh
that's one thing that I can have my time be consumed upon studying. Well,
yes.
I was not wrong. I was really right.
Yun
Then
talaga.
like so for example, pag nagtatanong yung doctor like what do you see? Naisip tas sinisip ko naman sa sarili like I at the back of my mind ang sarap sagutin. But sir, pag sinasabi ni doc, what do you see? Doc, pink circles. Or blue
True.
circles. Diba?
Pink circle, violet circle.
Small circle. Like, but so sabi ko, all of this doesn't make sense. So I really said to myself na this is not the reason why I should be stopping in studying medicine.
Mm.
From studying medicine. Because basically, pagdating naman when we become doctors naman siguro.
Mm.
Hindi naman ako magiging pathologist. So pero ano na lang
Okay.
yun, like, it would be a big meme pag magiging pathologist ako. But
Uh,
going back dun sa history, what I could have done before is to go back time. I mean, we do cram, right?
yes.
Admittedly.
Yes.
I would have studied in advance or would have prepared myself, like, just to get the gist of it. Just to get the gist out of it, rather. If I knew that was, because for me it was really difficult. Eh. Just to give me a background of sort
Mm.
very able to be war shocked when I get to medicine. So yeah, histo was really my enemy. Another con, maybe it's not really a con, ha? Because of course, if we're medical students, we are really expected to learn anatomy by heart.
Mm, yes.
And especially the ortho, it was a musculoskeletal. Like you have to
Oh,
memorize the innervation, the origin, the
origin,
nerve, and the
verb
what's the
endings,
I forgot the A.
action.
The action, that's one. Like
Mhm.
it's actually a perks for those students who come from rehab side. Oh.
Oh, true.
But of course, like for those adults, so basically like I had the weakness sa histo. Even now, I've said to myself na I'm not even that 100% na I've mastered everything. It really needs repetition for me to
Same.
like learn all
Mm-hmm.
of those stuff again. So like what I did in order to overcome, what I did first is that I acknowledged my weaknesses, and second is that I planned out like what can I do for me to get myself out of the way. So of course, like I was just really blessed to have SGT group mates who were really helpful. So that's one thing that these medical students should always think about. Pray for your SGD group mates or pray for your group
Yeah,
mates
or a
or
group of
classmates. They
friends.
really yeah, they really
Mm.
matter. Your support system in medical school matters a lot. Just so blessed that I have a good support system and I have good SGD group mates who really helped me understand histo because it's just temporary, it's just passing. So what I also did is, in as much as I have a good support system, I really invested my time din in studying. For example, sa labs, like what I do is, for example, after magtuturo yung classmate ko, then at night I would really remember
Yes.
this is what she said, this is what they said, ganun. Then most importantly, then prayers, no? Like,
Last
kasi
one.
like, for me, like, first year med, in comparison, like, first year med was really way stressful in comparison to second year med. Like, I mean, I'm not discrediting, iba din yung
Iba-iba.
difficulty sa online classes, but in terms of understanding, like, first year med for me was really the adjustment period. So,
True.
ayun, like, uh, like, basically, like, number one, you really need to study well, and this, in as much as you study hard. Number two, like, you reach out yun nga, like, I had these good SGD group mates, I have group of friends that I reach out, I humbly ask for help whenever I needed one, mostly, most of the time. That's I used to pray. Yun is the first year med. So as for second year med,
Okay, second year.
ayun na. So for pros, then if you can remember back then, like we were really advised to learn the normal physio in order for us to understand the pathophysio.
Mm-hmm.
So pathophysio was, I can't say that it was totally easy, but you already have a background of it na, so you don't have to dwell too much on that. Then in relation to pathophysio, there comes pharmacology. Pharmacology
Yes.
is your
Second year
is
na
your what's
talaga
this?
kasi ano no, yung pharma ng
Pharma.
bonggang-bongga.
That's for pharma. But I have to admit, Cyden, like for those people who are going to watch this one, as for pharmacology, I really hate to memorize drugs.
Okay,
So,
so
like, what I did dun sa, like, I know naman na, I know most people, na, that would, pag sinasabi nila, oh, you take pharma kasi if
oo,
magaling ka
you must be
mag-memorize,
good
you go for
na.
pharma. You must be good in
Oo.
memorization. So then, I can say that I am one in a million exception. Like, for example, there are a bunch of paracetamol brands of names. I can
Okay.
barely memorize 10.
O sige, sample, sample.
uh, Tylenol, na, Digestive, diba? Ikaw, the joke lang. So, in relation to that, yun yung binabawi ko sa pharma. I understand how the drug works
Hmm,
first. I understand
MOA.
the mechanism. It's always, I understand the MOA. Kasi, for example, I can tell you, Hana, uh, if you ask me which I can be better memorizing a bunch of brands, like really yung drugs and the doses at the same time, if you let me explain the MOA, I can efficiently explain the MOA. Then you ask me, name me 10 paracetamol brands. Like, let me name, name 10 paracetamol like,
Hmm,
brands of drugs. So anyways, so in relation to that, understanding the MOMO also made me correlate the normal physio and the pathophysiology and yun nga, make a wrap up out of it. So yun
hmm.
nga, like it gave me a better understanding I mean, like, it can help one get a better understanding of the disease state and how are you going to manage it. So in relation to the pros, in second year med, it gave me a better understanding now of the disease states that I had
Mm.
studied back then sa undergrad. Learn more disease states and how do we manage them. So in addition to pathophysio and pharmacology, another would be research. I mean, I understand how everyone is really struggling with research, no? Especially
Mm.
now that we are in an online setup. But one big advantage of which siguro is kasi back in undergrad side, we really have a course or a subject course which is like pharmacognosy, wherein we are really taught we really studied like those types of plants,
Mm. Yeah.
the phytochemicals that it contains, like what are
Uh-uh.
the extraction or the methods that we extract those phytochemicals without uncompromising the other phyto that
Oo.
comprises it. So
Mga
siguro
constituents.
the constituent. So that was having a background with regards to like the plants as well as the extraction means or the methodology part. Actually, that really saddens me when I got to second year med. It's because I was really excited on experimental research, particularly on like carrying out the methodology, but sadly it's an online class. So
Hmm. Yeah.
yeah, then another siguro, like another pro would be in the aspect of drugs siguro, in microbiome and parasitology because it's also our board exam subject. But not like the cycle, yung mga like what you see on the microscope. We do not focus on that much subject.
Ah,
But
okay.
siguro like the drugs and what are
Ano yung
the
mga ka-affect
symptomatology of those
nito
patients.
na
Yeah.
parasite?
So as for the con, so the cons. So number one, as I said a while ago, I really don't like histo. So when I went to second year, it really made
Nandun
me
pa rin.
think, andun pa rin siya. But it's a bigger scope. Pato.
Oo. Okay.
So, sabi ko sa sarili ko, oh my gosh, like it's a bigger field. So,
Yeah.
kasi if you look at it sa board exam subjects, like histo is incorporated sa anatomy, if I'm not mistaken, right? Pero pag pathology talaga, it's one board exam subject.
Mm, mhm.
So sabi ko, like, mahirap, pero laban. So, whenever I prepare for SGDs, understanding patho would really take me time. So, kasi what I do is, for example, dun sa cells part, I really have to review histo, like how it looks in a normal presentation, and how
Mm.
it would look if if the patient has this type of disease. So it's really difficult, but sige lang, I'd like to impart this message na lang. If it would take you that much time to learn and to understand that you believe that it will make you become a better doctor, then do it. Yun lang.
Ah,
Diba?
that's really
Then,
nice.
ano pa ba cons? Ah, yeah, for cons. In the same way, in the same manner, for musculoskeletal system.
Ah, okay.
Diba? So, kasi for musculoskeletal system, like, ano in the same way din, like, although like different naman na yung set of muscles and bones for second year, but
Mhm.
what I did na lang siguro, like, from what I learned in first year is just to read and apply over and over again para you don't tend to forget it. Yes, it's
Mhm.
kind of difficult, especially na we didn't do dissection because we're in an online
Oo
setup.
nga.
So we really need to, although it's really difficult, but it gives us no option but to take the extra mile to understand it. So yeah, good.
Char. Okay.
Yeah.
Aw, ang dami kong na-learn sa'yo, friend, as in, from this
Uy,
interview.
grabe ka naman.
As
Uy, ano,
in,
like, disclaimer, I'm just a normal medical student.
uy, normal, but maybe in other fields, in other,
Yeah,
um,
man.
extraordinary. Char.
Wait.
Okay. Cons.
What of the disadvantage in which I
Okay.
know Cyden is an expert of this one is
Ano,
OB.
again?
Ano ba, like OB, yung
OB, oh,
OBGYN. I forgot that's my con.
con.
That's the point in second year where I really had a difficult time understanding that. Because I like, for example, I have to admit, like we didn't get to do Lampol's maneuver. We didn't do telemetry. Although there were, I have to admit that the school provided us with the materials for us to understand. Pero iba pa rin talaga when you get to do the maneuvers. You get to understand on your own. So,
Actual.
yeah, so and I believe that it's the nurses, no, who are really the pros on that. So that's one disadvantage. And another also thing in relation to practice is PDR. So in comparison to other paramedical courses such as like nursing and such as in nursing, like those in the rehab sciences, they do like physical assessment to their patients. Yung sa amin lang naman pag undergrad, we just do vital signs. So, di ba, like, vital
Oo.
signs, pero like, we didn't do, but yun lang din naman yung important kasi, like, sa scopes of pharma. Like, in comparison to rehab and nursing na, you have to do, like, whole physical assessment. So, you guys get to have the experiences of doing a physical exam to a patient. So, yun, that's one con. But, just to give a generalization, those pharmacy students who are aspiring to be in med school,
Yes.
ano lang. So as for your pros, you do not forget your pros. You take advantage of your pros, and at the same time, you don't forget your pros. It's because you might interrelate this. You're going to correlate this with your cons when you learn medicine. So as for your cons, you don't get discouraged with your cons. At times it may take a toll on you, or it may make you sad because you can't understand it in one reading. But it's okay. We can't learn everything in one setting. There will be really topics that are going to be difficult. As for the cons, yung sinabi ko kanina, take heart to learn. Then like if you don't understand, like what this is what I do. If I don't understand something, I would humbly ask
Ask
someone
for
to
help.
help me. Ask
Mm-hmm.
for help. There's nothing wrong when asking for help. There's nothing wrong whenever you ask for help. We're humans. It's okay. And
Mm-hmm.
lastly, for your con, like whenever you already understand those topics, don't forget it. Then, as much as possible, correlate for you to understand. So, siguro another din siguro sign na, we can consider like as an advantage, or is actually an advantage if you have a background to pharma, is like
Mm-hmm.
one is already aware now, like what are the adverse side effects, or what are the adverse drug effects of the drug, like who to what kind, or to which kind of patients are this kind of drug is contraindicated with. For example, like you don't give ACE, or you don't give your ACE or your ACE inhibitors to your patients who are predisposed to asthma, or for example, like those trivial drugs. For example, like phenytoin can cause gingival hyperplasia, or like your some of your antibiotics might cause Clostridium difficile infection, or like for example, sa pa ba? Like something in ana, or like also an advantage put, for example, like let's relate your pharma to your biochem. Like for example, you have these pathways, or your I forgot that pathway.
Pentose phosphate.
Yeah, your pentose phosphate pathway. You can actually relate that to like sa imong G6PD, like why
Mm.
you don't give this type of drug. So actually, you can actually interrelate each. Then, for example, like why is this enzyme have to be inhibited by the said drug? It's because, for example, no siya, if it won't be inhibited, the end product can cause this physiologic effect. So basically, biochem, physio, pharma, patho, physio, chem,
Pharma.
it's actually like interrelated lang talaga siya. When I went to medicine, I was also asked by one doctor, like why do you pursue medicine with that kind of period? I
Mm-hmm.
remember I told her na doc, it's because I chose pharma also as a pre-med. It's because I wanted to promote rational drug therapy to future patients when I become a doctor. It's because Cyden, like if di ba, like we've been reading journals that there are a lot of cases rising right now. Na it's because like alam mo yung polypharmacy where the doctors would actually
Mm-hmm.
dispense like
A lot.
multiple drugs, and it can actually cause like the risk would actually outweigh the benefits. So,
Bennett.
the other hand, diba? So,
Double
like,
effect.
of course, no, as medical students, then we really need to study pharmacology
Mm.
wholeheartedly. It's because we'll be dealing with our patients of future. And if we prescribe the wrong drug, if we do not think rationally if this is actually appropriate in treating his or her condition, this can actually lead to side effects. At the same time, you have also to consider the cost of the patient sa iyong mabayaran
Mm.
sa drugs, right? So double trouble siya. So that's one advantage if you are a pharmacy student, because we have been taught with that mindset, and at the same time, although it's not guaranteed na master ka na sa lahat ng drugs, but you'll be able to learn more of it like throughout the time. So yes, some
Yes.
points lang sa pharma.
Okay. Thank you for those points, Efren.
Ay, sorry, before I forget, ano, there's this culture kasi in medicine that we always ask like, what's the best pre-med? I mean,
Yes.
take this opportunity to say that
Mm-hmm.
since we have survived 2 years of medical school, hopefully we'll survive the last two, din, no?
Yes.
Like each pre-med has its own advantages. Like for example, some nursing, like the clinics part, OB, pedia, like for medical laboratory sciences or the medtechs and the radtechs, the diagnostics,
Mm-hmm.
micropara, clinical chemistry, and like HEMA, and among the others. For example, if you're from rehab sci, you'd really be good in anatomy, in
Mm-hmm.
physio. If you're from pharma, like pharmacology, except for me, and among other like paramedical courses, each really has an advantage. So like that's one thing that you have to remember. Like when you enter med school, ato lang talaga, like I realized after 1 year of adjustment na I realized na your goal in med school is basically to learn and to apply those learnings that we as medical students will be applying these learning and eventually we become doctors. So if it's something that you know, you just have to don't forget it, like from the pros part. And if it's a
Mm-hmm.
con, it's something that you have to work with. And I already said those how you do about it. And
Yeah.
eventually, when you deal with your pros and cons, like your best pre-med won't really matter na. Because your end
Yes.
goal, no matter what, is to become a doctor at the end of the day. So yun lang.
That's really nice. Okay, so thank you, Efren. Very mind-boggling or somehow heartwarming, Ren. Those words, something that we should really think about for a very long time, especially those students that would somehow compare their pre-med courses to other courses. So I hope with this video you have somehow inspired other people and also brought some clarity about pharmacy, diba, as pre-med. So with that, I'm gonna ask you, who do you think na who are fit those students na who would take up pharmacy? Like, what kind of students or what kind of students possess something or something na
Ah, sige.
would ano lang suggest pharmacy
Parang
as
promote students na like, oh, you take this free med, ganun.
oo.
To whom do I recommend pharma? So number one is if you really love chemistry and if you really love chemistry, if you really love to understand, if you really love to memorize, go for pharma.
Oh, okay.
The second point is that if you really wanted to let's just say if you want to go abroad, if you want to look for greener pastures, pharma kasi like as I said a while ago, there are a lot of job opportunities abroad. For example, just an example. If I'm a graduate of pharmacy here in the Philippines, when I work abroad, I would not be a pharmacist. I mean, if a registered pharmacist ako sa Philippines, when I go abroad, I will not be a pharmacist. I'll be a farm tech. But you will be starting as a farm tech. But if you talk about the sahod or the sweldo, I swear it's really it's compensable. It's way more compensable, like to cater your needs and your family's needs.
Needs your
Then
wants and
you just need 2 years to work for a degree. That 2 years, if I'm not mistaken, then you'll be able to earn a degree na there sa abroad for pharma.
mm,
Then like if you want like job opportunities talaga, like for example,
yeah.
if you don't plan to go to med school, uh
Mm-hmm.
opportunities under pharma actually would include number one. You can be in a community setting where you can build your own you can build your own tawag na to, like butika or your pharmacies,
Oo.
or even medical students. I'll share this to you. I have
Ah,
some
sige.
friends there or I know some people na med students sila, but they have their own they have their own like businesses. And actually, it's really it's difficult to juggle. I have to admit, it's difficult to juggle a business and business
Yes.
and med school. But if you think about it long term, the money that you can earn, no, pwede mo pang Shopee, the joke lang.
Oo.
Joke lang yun.
Pabili ng new gadget.
Oh, the what's this? The money that you can earn sa butika, you can actually you can do it for future investment, for
Mhm.
savings, for the future, diba? So aside from the what's this, from the community setting, another thing is the hospital. So pharmacists particularly, they also play a role sa hospital, lalo na when they do the unit dosing drug delivery system. So it's basically patient to patient based. But actually, the sad thing lang sa atong country or in our country is that, we are pretty much aware how the healthcare system is
Oh, yeah,
really
how
wrecky,
it
right?
works. Mhm.
Or how it works. So not all hospitals do cater a lot of pharmacists there. But if
Mm.
you really want like for example, if you really plan to go abroad and work as a clinical or hospital pharmacist, then like you can work sa hospital for the meantime. It would actually be a good preparation before you go abroad. Because actually during my internship, it's also in the hospital setting where I really
The
uh
the art
enjoyed
of pharmacy.
yeah, like patient to patient, it's a patient to patient case. For
Mm.
example, like we are told to read the patient charts, that in relation to that, sa drugs part, so the main pharmacist would ask, oh, sige, I'll let you explain. So what could be the possibility that this drug is being shifted to this one with the
Oh,
patient's present conditions, or with the laboratories presented. So in that way also, it's really one thing that I really enjoyed, that you'll be able to learn a lot talaga sa
yeah.
hospital setting, di ba? So third
Oo.
part is like, to those students who really love to be in the laboratories, like particularly academia. Kasi like I
Oo.
really enjoy lab works, di ba? Kaya nga I was really saddened, di ba, doon. Like
Oo.
there's no experimentation sa
Experimental
research, di
actuals.
ba? So you go for manufacturing and like drug delivery,
Mm.
manufacturing
Nano.
or like research and development, if you're also fond of doing research, ganun. Because in the Philippines, like we really need more people to be in research, like sa
Mhm.
drug delivery, and even in abroad, it's really kanang hiring talaga, ganun. Then, ano pa ba? If you really want also to take, if you're the student who's really like vocal, you're into like talking, like parang
Like you?
law, ganun. Not really, not really. You can be part, I forgot the technical term dun eh, but pharmacists also can work in FDA. I
Mm.
remember na. If you want to be a regulatory pharmacist, you can also be part of
Mm.
the FDA then. It's
Okay.
actually nice, but Cyden, I'm not into law, so no. Tapos may law subject tayo pag third year, no? Paano na yan? Then
Oo.
ano, lastly is if you're really planning to, if you want to be with, if you're the person who wants to impart knowledge, like if,
Mm.
because if you have that art of teaching, that you can be part of the academy. Of course, particularly it's also sad in the Philippines, wherein like the education system or our teachers, or some of which talaga like they are capable of I mean like lacking talaga yung like how they would impart information to their students,
Mm.
like to impart information clearly that the students may be able to comprehend it well, no, like experience natin yun like along the years of studying, di ba? So if
True.
you're that person na you love chem, you love disease processes, you love ano pa ba yung sinasabi ko dati, and if you have that art that I said a while ago, then you go for the academe. The pharmacy education system needs you. In relation to this, I tell you that when you say that a person is a pharmacist is not basically a tindera or a tindera. You can refer to
Mm.
what I said a while ago. There's a bunch of opportunities
Pharmacist.
that will enable a person or enable that student to grow, to learn, and eventually prosper at the end.
Hmm.
So yun.
Wow. So Wow, ang dami palang like something ng
Yeah.
mga pharma. And then I'm really glad that you extensively pointed each of those subtopics of being a pharma. So what's your somehow med specialty in mind? Really?
Actually, Di ba in Cebu Doc, we do by systems. We don't do traditional.
Mm,
Like, for example, like block two, it's more on like cell, like
mm,
the molecular part, genetics. Block
oo.
three, neuro, ortho, ganun. Block four, cardio. Ganun. So,
Mhm.
prior to entering med school, I really aspired to become a neuropsychiatrist. It's because, of course, I myself have also been into depression, and I really want to see, I really want to help people who had been into my place back then. I know it was difficult, and at the same time, that situation where I was in, it somehow moved me to think about that. Actually, sabi din yun ng neuropsych ko na consider it. Pero pagdating ng neuro ng first year,
Parang
ang
ayoko
hirap.
na.
Sabi ko, pag ano ba yun? Pag
Ah,
na siguro, na joke lang. Tapos, when I was also in undergrad, I really had a good time, no? Ang funny nito, ang sobrang plot twist. I thought of cardio as really interesting. Well, it's actually interesting, but it's
mhm.
difficult. It's really super difficult. So pagdating ng second year, alam mo naman Cyden what happened sa second year pagdating ng block 4.
Oo,
Di ba?
pamatay.
So, sabi ko, wag na, cardio, it's not for me. Tapos, nung first year din, there's this particular system where I really enjoyed studying. I mean, kasi it's more on physio the acid-based physio. I was actually like thinking din na to pursue, matawag dito, nephro. Di ba like
Hmm,
it's fun? Di
oo.
ba like, nephro is actually fun. Then nung second year din, I actually had a good time understanding nephro.
Mm,
So sana sa third year, hindi ko siya I will be, sana
ma-hate.
sa third year, hindi ko siya ma-hate, no? But,
Okay.
like, going back, there's no actually definite as to what I really wanted to specialize. But siguro, especially right now, no, we are not exposed yet into the
Mm.
clinical setting na mag-assist ganun. Pero one thing is for sure, Cyden, ayoko mag-OB. Nakaka-stressful. Well, one thing's for sure, Cyden, I really don't like OB. It's really stressful. Or siguro, it's actually, iba daw naman, it's actually different when what we see or what we have read in
In
Harrison's and
textbook.
Williams
Actual.
than in actual. So kaya like I was just being
Baka,
lang, lumpy about it.
malay mo.
So tapos pero kung
Well,
like OBpedia, I would actually prefer Pedia over OB. Kasi kaya ng mga bata, di ba? O
ayoko
din.
ng
So,
milestones.
I accept for that. Kasi, yan ba, ang funny no? I actually asked, like, are pediatricians really required to memorize those milestones? Tapos sabi ng friend ko, they're really required. Like, master nila yan. Oh, goodness. Pero, if that's actually what's in store for me, it's fine. Pero, going back to your question na, like, what do I want to specialize? Siguro side then, I would
In
actually
mind, like
say,
for now.
in mind,
If like it's the
uh,
end of the world.
probably like I plan to go internal medicine, then would
Mhm.
substat in next. So,
Oh,
but
yeah.
if I have to be let's just say practical, I don't know where to find the fine line between practicality and realistic or like realism.
Another.
Knowing that today is, I mean, like the present, in the present, we are currently having a pandemic, and
Mm,
we know how mental health takes a toll in each
yes.
and every one. And also, I know that if you look at it like sa future, there would really be rising cases like involving mental health.
Mm,
Also, maybe siguro neuropsych or kung I am pwede din naman like I am nephro because like we are much aware like lifestyle plays a practice on our health. So,
mm,
ang dami nang nagda-dialysis. So,
mm.
nephro probably. And in our province, there's, if I'm not mistaken, parang walang dialysis center. So, maybe, yun. Or, to be safe with the answer, whenever there's a need, na parang, kuan man sad sa ko heart, haong sad siya, then I'd go for it. Kaya,
Okay.
or kung
Pero
saan ako ibalagay ni Lord.
personally, yeah, for me, you look like an IM doctor.
Oy, cutie.
Oo.
Sabi ko, oy, ay, ang cutie. Sige, claim natin.
Okay, so thank you so much, Efren, for being my guest for today.
Well, I
So,
should be the one saying thank you, ah. You know, with
uh,
this flavor, guys, sorry, ah, kasi this is my first time to be part in the band.
hindi halata.
Ganito,
Okay, guys,
ganito pala
don't
to.
believe him. He's our student council vice president.
Uy,
And then our batch vice governor. And grabe, he really excels a lot.
hindi naman.
Okay. Thank you, Efren, for this one. Guys, if you'd
Thank
like
you,
to follow him,
Cyden.
go follow
Uy,
him. I'll put a link or whatever, an at, if okay lang ba. Basta guys, if you will see him around, guys, you want a friend to talk to, a medicine to talk to,
that's one
Efren
thing,
is
yeah.
like
If you
the,
want to, if you want to talk to, like,
like
gano'n,
advices or
you can
ano,
always hit me, ha? Go
kahit like
naman.
2 a.m. guys, you can message him. Okay lang yan.
Some things happen after 2 a.m. Joke
Ay,
lang.
okay. Thank you,
Cyden,
guys.
thank you so much. It's
Okay.
good to
See you
be
again for
part of this
another
band.
video of my pre-med crash course series. So more videos coming right up with other pre-med courses. Bye.
Bye, thank you. Cyden, usab ta tanan be, last chance. Ano? Oh my God, sa! Ikat na ang part na
Okay lang.
Wait lang, why did you choose your...
Include ko to sa bloopers. Sa
So
end.
anyway, so, in as much, yeah, yun. Kaya sasabihin ko sana, magsasalig ka na lang sa support system, di ka na mag-aaral. But it's not, bloopers, but
Okay,
you really
okay.
have to study hard. Cut mo yun. O, diba? Napapaisip ako,
Mall.
no?